The Carolina Panthers open up their NFL football season in Jacksonville against Trevor Lawrence and the Jags this weekend. Here is the one, and this plays into the conversation we had yesterday, but the one request I would have for Dave Canales and Brad Idzik and whoever's in their inner circle of offensive game planning. Do whatever it takes to have the offense be successful in the first half. Certain times in play calling, and this is actually where the elite play callers get, you might call a play in the first quarter or in the second quarter that you have a low expectation of it being successful, right? You're just hoping to get 3 yards, but what you're really doing is setting something up for later in the game. Right? I mean, the most obvious example being you have to run the dive a few times before a defense will bite on the play action. Right? You have to run the play before the fake works. So you're calling a play. You want it to be successful, don't get me wrong, but you're not calling it with the hope that it's going to break for a touchdown or that this is going to be the play that sets the game off. It's a chess move setting up 4 moves down the line. I like it. I'm glad you're thinking that way. I'm sure you've learned it from somebody along the way in your coaching career. Don't do it in week 1. I need tangible success, points, highlights in the first half of week 1. And part of the reason being what happened last year in week 1. Everybody came in with high expectations for Carolina. You got the new hotshot coach and play caller, and he was a believer in Bryce Young, and you had this whole positive energy, right? You got the guy from the Pete Carroll coaching tree that has never seen a single thing related to football that he didn't absolutely love. Dennis, play the clip.
I feel great about playing football right now.
He said that in April
of last year.
And then week 1 came and all of the excitement and like the air wasn't even let out of the balloon. It wasn't even popped with like a pin or a thumbtack. The balloon was macheted very quickly. First drive, Saints, it was a 50-something yard touchdown pass. Deep ball, Derrick Carr, who's retired, by the way. First offensive play for the Panthers, interception. And just like that, just everything went from optimism to pessimism. This year, do whatever it takes to give people something they can hold on to that says it's not going to be like that this year. It's not going to take us until week 10 to start putting things together. It's not going to take until the last game of the year for Bryce to look like an elite quarterback for flashes. If you have to, and this is where it goes to the conversation we were having yesterday, if you have to run Chuba Hubbard behind Robert Hunt and Taylor Moton on the right side 20 times in the first half, do it. If Fritterer McMillan needs 15 targets, give him 15 targets. That may not be your ideal offense. That may not be what you want to have for the entirety of the year, and it doesn't have to be. But that sideline, that fan base, that coaching staff needs to see success early. You know, the I don't know why this just popped into my head. When I was a freshman and we would run out of the tunnel, we used to just do like specialist kickers, punters, long snappers, and quarterbacks. We'd get out there earlier because we took longer to warm up. And needless to say, that's not the most intimidating bunch on the team, right? When defensive linemen were involved, we used to break it down on the main guy would yell, time to eat, and everybody else would yell, time to kill. That's terrifying. When the quarterbacks and kickers and punters and long snappers got together, we weren't chanting about killing people, right? We weren't even that metaphorically tough. But the one thing that our starting quarterback at the time, who played in the NFL for a while, would say is he would just go, "Hey guys, smoke them if you got them." And then we put our hands in and say like team on 3, right? Something real cheesy. But he said it every single time, smoke them if you got them. That's how I feel about the first half for the offense with the Panthers. Smoke them if you got them. If you have something in the chamber, use it. Don't save anything. Don't set anything up. Get in the end zone. Once you do that a few times, then we can start looking at the big picture and you can start diving deeper and you can start setting things up. But just for game one, sell out to do something good early. Sell out to do something good early. Defensively, obviously it's not the same, right? You don't have nearly as much control on defense. A lot has to be reactive. And I said this earlier, I'll say it again. I don't know if this is possible. One of the big knocks, negatives, whatever you want to call it, demerits on the permanent record of Ejiro Evero as a defensive coordinator with the Panthers is I think he is slow to adapt and change. He is a believer in what he believes in, and even in the face of proof that it's not working, he tends to stay the course, which I guess is somehow commendable in a weird way, but also there has to be a point where you go, all right, it's not working, right? This week has been a lot of movie quotes. You need the moment in Remember the Titans where Coach Yost looks to Coach Boone and says, Coach, Ed Henry's kicking my tail. I need some help, right? And then all of a sudden, everybody's playing both ways and they're collaborating. At some point, if what they are doing at the beginning of this game is not working defensively, you need to try something new. And that builds into what we've said about the Jags, which is the Jags are very unknown right now. New coach, one of the most intriguing yet mysterious top draft picks of all time in Travis Hunter. He could have a great game. He could be the rookie of the week and not play on offense. He could be the rookie of the week and not play on defense, and he could be the rookie of the week anywhere in between, playing 100% on both, playing 20% on both. Like, he's that dynamic. You don't know, and you have to be willing to adapt. Dennis, we were talking about it off air with Paul Ihender, the host of Next Up. The secondary for the Jags is nothing to be scared of, correct?
No, relatively undersized.
But if you put Travis Hunter out there, it's a different beast.
Much different story. By the way, who guarded Fritterer McMillan in college?
So if Travis Hunter's on Fritterer McMillan, that's one thing. If he's not, that's another, right? Then I'm looking to pepper Fritterer McMillan with a few more targets. Same is true reverse, right? If Travis Hunter is out there on the field offensively, I think I don't know if you travel J.C. Horn. I think you tell J.C. Horn, whoever's on your side, Brian Thomas Jr. or Travis Hunter, that's your guy. You pick where you're most comfortable because you're going to have to lock him up. If Travis Hunter is not out there offensively, I would love to tell J.C. Horn you're running with Brian Thomas Jr. We'll figure out De'Ami Brown and whoever else they're throwing to, but you have to lock up the best. Which running back plays? They have 3 of them that you might see. Who knows how much each plays? Do you get good Trevor Lawrence or bad Trevor Lawrence? There's no way to know any of this until you see it on the field. So the defense, and more specifically the defensive schemer, right, Evero, has to be willing to take in information as the game goes along and let that information drive his decisions for the rest of the game. It can't be, this is what I do. This is what I thought would stop him. This is what I expected Liam Cohen, their new coach and offensive play caller, to do. Because if he's not doing it, I mean, you have to change. You have to be flexible. We talked about it earlier. There's probably a good point that Dennis made that you're watching a lot of Tampa offense from last year because Liam Cohen was the offensive coordinator and play caller there. And that's a great place to start as far as preparing for a team that's got a lot of unknowns. What did the play caller do in the past? But you don't know if he sees Baker Mayfield and Trevor Lawrence's similar skill sets. Right? Even their wide receivers, right? Mike Evans is a really good number 1 wide receiver. 100-something touchdowns, 1,000 yards every year, really good player. He's not all that similar to a Brian Thomas Jr. So maybe the play calling is different in that way. And if you're out there calling defenses to stop the Mike Evans-led passing game of the Bucs and they're running a different offense built around Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter, you're going to be out there just confused as to why it's not working. When, if you were in the division and you played the Jaguars again, week 8, you could be much more concrete in what you want to do because you'd know more about what they want to do. But this one, it's like, you're not, for those of you that public speak, if you've ever done some public speaking, you're not going with every word typed up in this. You're going in with a bullet points, the old outline. And you have to be willing to jump around based on what the crowd's reacting to. Have to be adaptable on defense.